Welcome to another edition of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we are running down all the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. And I will note that I did miss last week. I was in the middle of FIBO, if you were paying attention to the website. We mentioned we would be there, and in fact we were there. Checking out all of the action from the show, which in the past has been one of the biggest health and fitness shows I've seen in my life. 2017, I think, actually might have been my first one, was 16, 17, one of those. It's ginormous, to say the least. And the thing is that understand what it encompasses. So this isn't just like your typical Arnold or Olympia, where you get I guess a specific array of brands. FIBO is just has a reach that is far greater than any other show. They have as much supplement companies as they do fitness equipment, technology, like absolutely everything you could think of in terms of health and wellness, whether we're talking technology, wearables, gaming, like it brings together all of these. There's entire halls dedicated to different sections, and supplements I think makes up maybe one of like 25%, maybe, I could be wrong there. In the past, it's made up like 20%, 25%. This year, I would think it was a little bit bigger, which I think shows a good sign that it was plenty of growth in that part of the world. FIBO is, of course, in Cologne, Germany. It's a European show. You don't get too many American brands, but they are there. They do make themselves known. But yeah, we were there checking things out. And before we get into the breakdown of the past week, which will encompass a few things from the week prior, I got to highlight, so we ran into a lot of newcomers at the show, like just brands I had not seen before. Most of them from Germany, obviously, it's a German show, but a lot that I hadn't recognized. So previously in the show FIBOs that I've been to, the 3 or 4, you had these very common players, very typical brands show up. That wasn't so much the case here. There were a lot of brands, but not, I guess, necessarily the ones that I had familiarized myself with over those years. And obviously, it's been a lot since my last FIBO was 2019, so 2024, it's been quite a while. They'd obviously have some breaks due to the pandemic. So it was great to, I guess, be introduced, to get to know all these brands. We will be going over some of them over the next few weeks. You'll see little introductions of probably German-specific brands. Some of them we'll mention. We saw at FIBO. Some we'll just candidly mention. A lot of them came from that show because it was just, when you see brands doing a certain level of promotion and presentation and selection of supplements, you know that they're big players, and that was the case in FIBO. There were a lot of these guys there, so we'll be highlighting them over the next few weeks. But I cannot finish a closeout of the FIBO show without mentioning ESN. So ESN is the largest supplement company in Germany right now, and they made that more than known at the at FIBO this year in Cologne. They hired out an entire hall. So as I was saying, there were different halls for different things. You had one for supplements, you had one for, I think, a bit of supplements, a bit of health and nutrition. You had some for equipment, you had some for gyms, you had different individuals. Then there was an ESN hall. By ESN, I mean ESN's family of brands. So ESN, the company behind ESN, is actually owns 2 other companies, More Nutrition, the big major lifestyle company, and I believe it's pronounced Oath. It's OATH. I gather that's what it is, like oath as in saying oath. But yeah, it's a they had all of those in there. So with that said, while I'm like justifying that, they hired out a whole hall, well, don't worry, there were 3 brands. That is still a mountain of space. You could have fit, I would have thought, maybe one of the halls of supplements in the hall that ESN had, but they filled it out with their entire selection of products. It was incredible to see a brand fill a space that big, and while it wasn't as bustling as the supplement halls themselves, keep in mind they were all those people were there for that one brand. So it wasn't like you could say, it wasn't that many people. They were all there for specifically the ESN brand. So it was a pretty big draw for them. They had tasting stations, sampling sections, seminars, meet and greets, nice little online setups. Shop setups. They even had a mechanical bull. They had what was the other? They had a gym set up. It was pretty cool. We're going to do some highlights, I think, on social. If you follow along, then you'll see a couple of them. But it was insane. It was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. FIBO being the biggest health and fitness show in the world, and then for the ESN to do something this big at this big of a show was cool to say the least. So yeah, and one more thing I'd like to get into before we go into the breakdown is we added a feature on Stacked. This was pretty much a highly requested feature over the years. And that was the regional feature. So we mentioned it over the past couple of weeks on the site. Basically, you could now go to the menu on Stacked, go to the region section and select Europe, Oceania, or Asia, and it will show you the posts from the brands in that region. The main site still shows you everything, but this was something that we had pretty much European, Oceania, like brands from those specific regions mention, hey, we should get a section to see like who else from this region is there, and it's a good way for you to see, like if you are also a shopper or a consumer from that area, to go, oh, I wonder what brands are really specific to me. Obviously, this day and age, you can ship almost anything from anywhere, but it's a nice way to split things up. And a cool little feature that we added, we'd been working on it, we'd not been working on it, but thinking about it for a while. And then it's also applicable to regional related news. So we added that a little bit later. And by later, I mean within the last 2 weeks. But for an example, would be Celsius, the US beverage company, energy drinks, launched in or is making its products in Australia as well as UK, Ireland, and France. Those stories were shared, but they wouldn't necessarily show up in the regional section. We've now made it so that they will show up. Obviously, those sorts of things would indeed relate to people who are wanting to find out news about, I guess, a specific area of the world like Europe and so on. But yeah. That does it up for the admin side and the FIBO side, and we're going to get straight into the action and announcements from the past 7 days. And we're going to kick things off with news on Black Market, who we have known for a mountain of years. I think they might be a little older than us, or they might have started around the same time. The original underground supplement company, they famously used to have mobile numbers on their website that you could text and text one of their ambassadors and then kind of connect with them and then meet up to buy the supplements. That was how you used to buy from them online. They were notoriously brick and mortar exclusive, and this was the only other way they let you buy them, which I thought was a damn cool little twist. But yeah, they have finally entered the protein powder category with Cuts Protein. So Black Market, again, since the beginning, has been a pre-workout specialist. Cuts in bulk, where it's thirst supplements. Cuts been a thermogenic enhanced pre-workout, and bulk being a muscle building testosterone booster infused competitor, and they've stayed in the brand throughout. They're now known as, originally it was Adrenaline Cuts, Adrenaline Bulk, now it's just Cuts and Bulk. They've stayed throughout the lineup, and now we've got Cuts Protein, which again is a spin-off of that original Cuts pre-workout, and very much like how the Cuts pre-workout combines weight management ingredients with pre-workout, Cuts Protein combines weight loss with protein powder. It is a very premium priced product, though, I will say that. It has your typical whey as the source of protein. I think it's isolate only, giving you 25 grams of protein a serving, practically next to no numbers elsewhere, with 110 calories. Then on the weight management side, you get chromium and carnitine tartrate. So those are the two ingredients that I've added to, I guess, justify the cuts angle or the fat burning portion of the supplement. But the price, as I mentioned, is quite high at $29.99 for a tub of 15 servings. So that's not a 30 serving tub, which you usually get for protein powders. The Cuts Protein is a 445 gram tub, which is about half a 2 pound, and it costs you $30. So it is definitely on the premium side. Either way, great to see Black Market get into the protein world. Again, they've been pre-workout specialists for forever, for as long as I've known them and for as long as they've been around. So it's cool to see them dive into other categories, which they have done in the past. This is the first time doing it for protein powder. Next up, we're going to go to Ghost, who made a bomb of an announcement. This story here just blew the lid off the industry, announcing that it is doing a protein cereal. And I don't mean a cereal flavored protein powder as they've done in the past. This is a full-on breakfast cereal that's high in protein. You can throw into a bowl, mix with some milk, and serve like you would Fruit Loops, Cocoa Pops, and all those magical cereals throughout the world. And yeah, it is high in protein. So the nutrition profile on this thing is pretty reasonable. You get 18 grams of protein per serving. Some of these numbers I'm about to say do vary per flavor. There are 2 flavors, marshmallows and peanut butter. And then I'm talking about the peanut butter one. So that has 18 grams of protein, 11 grams of carbohydrates with just about half of that sugar, 7 grams of fat, and 170 calories. So the numbers are pretty good. If you scale that up, I think we mentioned it on the site, if you scale that up to say 20 grams of protein, you're looking at pretty reasonable numbers compared to like your typical protein bar. So it's about a protein bar equivalent per serving. You might have to juice up the serving on the cereal a bit to get that 20 grams of protein, but it's definitely lean. And the most impressive part is that, I mean, before I get into the price part, the thing's going to deliver. I haven't tried it yet. We're still out and about traveling the world. I believe I have some waiting for me, but it's it's going to deliver on taste and texture. That's Ghost. It's one thing Ghost knows how to do. But again, the price is a big thing on this one. A lot of people commented wondering how much it was going to cost. Turns out it's a damn good deal. I believe it hit the Ghost website for, I think it was $9.99. So direct, it was just $10 a box. You didn't have to buy 4. You didn't have to buy a bundle, as you do with some of the other better for you cereals out there. You could just buy the single. The product did manage to sell out in 4 minutes when it went on Ghost website. They only made limited numbers through there, obviously, but well, not limited numbers, just a set number, I guess. I don't know how many they did, but they did indeed sell out. I would imagine it was quite a lot, but it is going to be in Walmart in the coming weeks. And I believe it is going to be less than $9.99. I was told $8 to $10. So I would imagine that $10 is the price on the site, and then the $8 to maybe $9 area is going to be Walmart, which is a damn good price for a better for you cereal. Typically, these functional things get pretty crazy in terms of cost, so it tends to put people off, especially when you have it next to, if breakfast cereals were similar size to the Ghost protein cereal and they were all $9. This wouldn't seem that strange. But when you have something that's got this connection, this familiar food, you're immediately going to compare the price. And so if you compare it to protein bars, it's a damn good deal. It's like 6 or 7 servings of protein bars, relatively, and like $10. That's a good deal. But you're comparing it to cereal, and people are probably going to want to put down more than 1 serving at a time if you're getting the bowl out and the cereal and the milk. So yeah, look out for that in Walmart in the coming weeks. And yeah, you will have missed the launch if you're just hearing about this for the first time. They made it, again, they did a short run, a short time availability through the Ghost website. Next up, we're going to go to Muscle Farm. They're returning to the protein bar market. Muscle Farm, if you only know of what it has now, it has been in the functional space many, many years, many, many times. Dating back to Combat Crunch, they've done a mountain of different snacks over the years. I believe there was a Combat Crunch XL, there was a crispy protein bar. They had the protein candies, the M&Ms like stuff. They did the Parmesan crisps, if I remember, was another one. Now they're getting back into it with a product pretty much very similarly named to the Combat Crunch and the Combat Sport Bar. Sorry, I don't mean similarly named, similarly built. So the build of this product, the Combat Sport Bar, is much the same as the original Combat Crunch layers and stuff like that. It's got a very base layer, doughy top, and then like crunchy pieces, chocolate wrapped. And the macros on this one we were able to confirm of 20 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbohydrates, so 1-to-1 protein to carbs. Only 5 of that is sugar, 5 fiber, 11 fat, and 240 calories. There will be 3 flavors? Yes, 3 flavors in chocolate cake, chocolate peanut butter cup, and chocolate chip cookie dough. So when Muscle Farm, I think it was last year, they said they were going to be getting back into doing new innovations, bringing back some much loved supplements, and I'm gathering that this is a reflection of that. I remember when they launched the Combat Crunch protein bar back in the day, it was a big hit. It was hugely successful. It was widely popular with a lot of people. And I guess that if you were introduced to MusclePharm via this protein snack and then it disappeared, you would probably be longing for this to come back. And so it's good to see them back in the space. And obviously it would be interesting to see what it tastes like. It is very different now to what it was back in when Combat Crunch was out there. There were nowhere near as many protein bars. Now we've got protein bars in different varieties and different formats and different shapes. It's a significantly more competitive world. But again, cool to see MusclePharm back in the game. Next up, we're going to shoot over to, I think we'll jump to Gorilla Mind to keep us on the topic of protein bars. Gorilla Mind has relaunched its peanut butter bar. So the Gorilla Peanut Butter Bar was launched less than a year ago. Very similar format to Outright with that peanut butter base, as is the case with a lot of protein snacks, protein bars over the last few years, where you get that nice nut butter, smooth, almost melt in your mouth type consistency. And that was what you kind of got in the Gorilla Peanut Butter Bar. They've now completely revamped it in a lot of different ways. And so they launched it today, recorded on Monday. I believe they changed a lot of ingredient stuff. So they switched around the balance of the whey in the actual bar and then the protein crispy pieces, which allowed it to give it smoother consistency. They changed, I don't know if they changed to, I can't exactly remember off the top of my head, but they've now given all of the flavors, bar, peanut butter, a cashew butter base, which has held back the overshadowing peanut taste, which I do understand that because a lot of Outright bars have that heavy peanut butter flavor in them, which is great, but if you're trying to get across a specific taste, that can hinder you a bit. And so the Gorilla Mind bar, now called just the Gorilla Bar or Gorilla Protein Bar, that's what they've switched to cashew butter. They've also what was the other one they did? They changed the macros a bit. So the protein, instead of 21 grams a piece, you get 20 grams now. And then the calories, instead of being around 260, are up at 270, 280. So slightly less protein, or marginally less protein, slightly more calories. But the flavors are identical, so you get the same 4 to choose from. If I remember off the top, I'm just going to read it. Cookie dough, peanut butter cup, oatmeal, chocolate chip, and cookies and cream. So a lot of changes, a lot of twists, all for the better. So they're saying that it is just a significantly better bar. So while the ingredients helped make for a better, softer texture and consistency, they also said that they focused a lot on delivering the actual intensity of flavor and tastes. So the specific tastes that are in there, like the cookies and cream, will hit a lot more, will deliver a lot better, with a small sacrifice, obviously, in the nutrition. And they've actually done a nice little graphic. We put it on our site, outlining the changes in the differences between the flavors. And so it's a cool little way to understand. So they've got a chart that basically says what flavors are covered in what flavors have what inside, and then what flavors have that different base. So just for example, the cookies and cream is the only one covered in white chocolate, and the other 3 are covered in milk chocolate. So they got a little thing that kind of highlights each of the features and then ticks which bar has which and what, which is a pretty cool little addition, especially if you're someone who maybe heard the product had chocolate chips and then you go and buy a flavor that doesn't have chocolate chips and be disappointed. This, in that rare case, this solves that, allowing you to, I guess, figure out which ones have which feature that may or may not have attracted you. Keeping on the path of some pretty bold supplements, we're going to go over to Infinite Nutrition, who, while this podcast is catching up on 2 weeks basically, Infinite Nutrition is the premium brand that just blew up last year when it announced its Ultra Pre-Workout and Ultra Greens, which are, I guess, some of the best examples of absolutely loaded kitchen sink supplements out there. They come jam-packed with ingredients. They have not only significantly more ingredients than your typical typical supplement, but they also have a jacked up amount of premium ingredients. Look at their Ultra Pre-Workout and you will know exactly what I mean. Look at the Ultra Greens and again, you'll know exactly what I mean. So they promised to expand their brand of 2 supplements previously to many different categories, and they are doing just that in the last couple of weeks. They announced and revealed 2 completely new supplements in Infinite Hydrate. Is it Hydrate or Hydration? I think it's Hydrate. hydration, sorry. And then Infinite Brain. Infinite Hydration obviously is a hydration supplement, and then Brain is a nootropic, and both of them are just ridiculously loaded. I'll run over the formula of the hydration. It is, they're not playing on this one. It's, again, electrolytes is the key focus, so they've got a boatload of those in there, included all from premium sources. You've got the Calci K blend in there as well, coconut water, Aquaman marine source minerals, taurine, hydropalm glycerols in there as well, pure YC vitamin C, Elevate TP, and Synactive are in there to further boost the performance and endurance side, which is a very nice addition. I see it in a few other hydration products, but it's a nice addition to throw it in to help further the purpose of better hydration. And that's just a small snippet. And then if we shoot over to, what was the other one, the Brain, that is also absolutely jam-packed. I won't go over everything. It's a kitchen sink approach. It is ridiculously jacked in terms of premium ingredients. But you've got Lion's Mane, Nutricog, Uridine, Cognizin, Brain Factor 7, Versasphere, NeuroRush, Huperzine Saffron. It's a jacked formula, to say the least. I would think this is just right up there with some of the most loaded brands, and that seems to be the approach that they want to continue across into every single category they can possibly reach into. And this is a great start. Ultra Pre-Workout and Ultra Greens were very, very good examples of what they're trying to achieve in their approach. And now they're doing it in the categories nootropic and hydration. But I will admit, the hydration one surprised the shit out of me because this is not an expensive supplement. The other ones are obviously pre-workout greens and the nootropic, but hydration is $35, which is that's a damn good deal, and it's 30 servings as well. As far as premium hydration products go, it's probably one of the most stacked I've seen, but it's nowhere near the most expensive. So again, very cool to see they're competing on both formulation-wise and then a price point-wise. Probably going to try and finish with two more stories. The latest from Recon 1 is finally here after being mentioned a few weeks ago, maybe even a couple months ago. There was word of Total War Pump, which was confirmed as the replacement for Big Noise, which is a tough day because if you've been a fan of Recon 1 since the very beginning, Big Noise was one of the first supplements they ever launched. Very few of those original supplements are still around. Total War was obviously one of them. They had I think they had a fat burner, they had a nootropic. I know not all of them are still available. That's neither here or there, but Big Noise has been replaced by Total War Pump, and it's a more well-rounded formula. So I mentioned this in previous posts over the last few weeks. There is a trend where previously you would do stimulant-free supplements would be all about pumps, maybe a touch about focus, but mostly about pumps. And you would combine them with a flagship supplement, and in Redcon 1's case, Total War, and you'd just be able to add pumps to that supplement or better the pumps. Or you could take it by itself without any stimulants, have a nice caffeine-free workout, and have better pumps. In more recent years, brands have been opting for more comprehensive approaches so that you would get a pre-workout that doesn't have caffeine, that pretty much supports everything that you would want in a pre-workout bar energy. So Big Noise Pump kind of achieves that with ingredients for pumps, focus, and performance. So it's realistically missing only one of the core effects of a pre-workout, and that's energy. So again, what I was saying is it's basically a more complete or more comprehensive stimulant-free solution. It has 6 grams of citrulline, 3.2 beta-alanine, a gram of hydromax glycerol, as well as a gram of tyrosine for the focus, rhodiola, huperzine A for a little bit more focus and cognition, than Himalayan pink salt as a source of electrolytes for performance. So it's again, pretty well-rounded, pretty straightforward supplement. It can still be stacked. I think I looked at it I'm pretty sure it can. Yes, that's right. So it can still be stacked because the only crossovers are beta-alanine and citrulline, and realistically, they aren't going to push you to any concerning amounts. The beta-alanine will go to 6.4, which is we've seen in many other pre-workouts on the premium side, and it'll also bump you to 10 grams of straight citrulline, which is a damn good time. Finally, one of the last little story, after getting through a lot, we've got news from this one over here, maybe a little dark. Unmatched supplements. So it was announced that Doug Miller, the man behind core nutritionalist Arms-Based Nutrition America Labs, is moving into a new company, or not moving, he is introducing a new company called Unmatched Supplements. At the time this was announced, all we knew was the name, was that it was called Unmatched. The name, and knowing that Doug Miller's involved, highly suggests that, yeah, it's a sports nutrition brand. Why would you expect anything less from Doug? And the name Unmatched very much sounds like a challenge-driven, hardcore sports nutrition brand. So we didn't know anything. We saw that there was like a preview of a tub, so it would be powder supplements, again, further leading into sports nutrition. The latest from the brand, and this was ridiculously impossible for me not to mention. So Unmatched put up a picture of one of the tubs being held by a hand. Now, if you are at all a fan of supplements and you see what is this intense of tattoos on fingers, again, if you wanted no one to pay attention to the hand or the fingers, you would have just put this man's other hand on the tub, or Doug's hand, or someone else's hand. No one really gives a shit. But when you put this hand on there, I'm gathering you were really, really expecting people to notice, because this hand is indistinguishably Kris Gethin's. You can look it up in pictures. He's wearing the same rings. He's got the same tattoos. It's Kris Gethin's hand. Unless there's someone else who's cloned his tattoo and jewelry, it's Kris Gethin. And considering he left Cage Supplements about a year ago, and he hasn't done anything for a year, he is in the prime position to do precisely this: team up with someone and launch a new brand. And I would think that Unmatched Supplements is very much what it is. Again, if you didn't want it to notice that it was Kris Gethin's hand, you would have put someone else's hand in there. It wouldn't have mattered. It was, again, as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, I guess the cat's out of the bag now. And a couple of the comments when I saw was just saying, Kris Gethin, Kris Gethin. Again, if you're a fan of supplements like me and you saw that hand, it wasn't, I wonder whose hand this was. You knew exactly whose it was. And like I said, one side of his body is tattooed, and he doesn't attempt to hide it. It's something he's very proud and shown off many times. So we now know that Doug Miller's fourth brand, or fifth if you count Maya Blocks, which is co-owned in partnership with Stephen Salmon at Man Sports, fifth brand isn't with none other than Kris Gethin. I'm excited to see what he does. Kris Gethin's stance on supplements was pretty big and bold in the beginning when he first started. The brand definitely evolved throughout the years, but it'd be cool to see him on his own again and seeing what he takes and what he thinks and what he approaches the world of sports nutrition like in the modern age. Close to probably 10 years. I don't know how old Caged is. Maybe it is 10. I know Jim was 10 and Caged, and it might be 10. Either here or there. It'd be cool to see how his approach or interest has changed over the years, and just what Unmatched is going to look like. Now, knowing he's involved, I think it's very clearly a sports nutrition brand, but many other things can be in the mix, and we look forward to the complete reveal, which I believe have to imagine is in the coming weeks to maybe even a couple months. But as soon as we get details, we'll share them. But for this episode, that is it. It was a long catch-up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for letting me miss last week for FIBO. But as always, all we ask for anyone and everyone to watch is just head to the website, visit it 1, 2, 3, 50, 60 times a day. Share with your mom, your dad, your brother, and your sister. Put on your social medias. That's all we want, was just people constantly knowing the latest of supplements around the world. And with the regional feature, you can now even find out where and when all of these things are happening. But yes, so we'll be back next week. And as always, thank you for listening.